Good. Let's start. So as I mentioned, my name is Marco. I'm a quite young technician in the dentistry. During my study, I learned still the manual dentistry, and I'm really grateful because now in that time where the dentistry is changed a lot to a digital dentistry, I'm able to combine the manual knowledge with the new digital knowledge. And this is very, very important because then you are able to create much better things and create much better methods and understandings. And the most important instrument today is that one, the finger, because you are able to get an impulse or put an impulse through the mouse into your computer to design your restorations. But without this here, your brain, you're lost. So you have to be able to combine everything very well. And I think Zirkonzahn is one of the yeah, I think it's one company, the unique company in the dentistry is offering also courses, education for you as a customer to learn everything about the current technologies. After my study as an MDT in Germany and a long stay and specialization in Italy for the ceramic layering, I've been now for over 5 years at Zirkonzahn as a course instructor, as a lecturer. So I'm traveling a lot to you guys in your country and presenting the new workflows. And what is the main part also to be an employee of Zirkonzahn is I'm inventing also a lot of workflows, projects, new technologies for you guys. So, and I think we have a lot of technologies and new devices and new implant components we will present, or I will present to you today. And I know a lot of people, they are a little bit confused about, because we have so many implant components available, a lot of people, they get confused to handle those, how to combine different types of components. And that's why it's very, very nice from you to attend to this webinar to get a better knowledge about. So I have here a index where you can see we will speak over a very lot new components. As you may have seen on our webpage or in our download center in our designing software, we have already over 15,000 implant components. I know that is very, very a lot, but we don't want to speak about, this is crazy, about any kind of component, any kind of part, but you know, we separate that in different categories, and for any kind of category, you know, we have then the several and individual implant components for implant companies. So that's why we have that separated today, and I think you may have seen already some news. We will start with our working system and our work system at the beginning. Because a lot of people, they don't know our system. Zirkonzahn is I would say, a quite integrated and unique workflow or a system, because we are providing any kind of devices to have to design a digital restoration from the start, like to scan a physical model, a physical impression made in chips, over our Modelier software, the designing software, until we get the possibility to mill actually the designed restoration with our milling machines. But our system is also capable to import data from any other third-party software. or a third-party device like an intraoral scanner. A lot of people, they don't know that. Our system is an open system, so you can import any open universal format like an STL, OBJ, for example, but we provide also a import function for original data, like from several intraoral systems like 3Shape, 3M, and so on. You could also use our system as a designing system and mill then afterwards onto a third-party milling software. You see, so you're very, very flexible by using those kind of different components. Obvious, you see in the middle this big scheme. We have not only our modular software, also several other designing softwares, like our latest design software, the modifier software. We have also a implant planner software, so you are able to plan implant positions digitally and so on. So what is really necessary to know in combination with that? Well, as you know, Zirkonzahn is providing, as I mentioned already, implant components, and that's a very lot. And we are also a generic producer of several implant components as well. And those implant components are integrated in our designing software. At the latest version of the modular software, you are able to download your implant system you need. That means we don't provide for any update you get the whole package of all the 15,000 implant components. It wouldn't be very clever because then the updates are very, very huge in the capacity. So we just reduce the software updates onto the minimum. And you can now, from now on, decide individual or decide the downloads individual. Yeah, not any of you is using all the implant components. Only a few like Chemlog, Straumann, and so on, and you just download those, and also to save space onto your computer. For non-Zirkonzahn users, we have also a portal to receive, to download the original digital geometries from Zirkonzahn for Exocut and 3Shape system. And please be sure that you download beforehand onto our homepage the download center. This is a separate software, a really small software to install very quick. And over this kind of extra software, you are able to decide then to download the geometries for Exocut or 3Shape users. It looks like that. You just select them and download them, and you are able to implement them in your system. Before we start with the implant components itself, I just want to mention that we are offering now a new milling machine. This milling machine called M2. And this is a very new comfort line. As you can see, we integrated now a computer, so you don't have a separate computer to control the machine anymore. Everything is built in, and this computer or the surface will be used by touch, so by your fingers. We have a better orbit system, and we have a magazine chamber, a much bigger magazine chamber with a much bigger magazine slot where you can put a lot of more burrs in it at the same time. And then we are offering also a M2 dual milling machine. And this M2 dual has two orbits, as you can see onto the picture. And these two separated milling chambers allowing me to be more individual in a part of thinking maybe I would like to use the left orbit side for wet milling processes and the right milling side for dry milling processes. And as you can see in the middle part of the milling machine, we have a bigger magazine chamber where we have space until 3 magazine slots at the same time. So, and what we have new as well, you can see that very well at the last picture below. We have a much bigger orbit, and this orbit called telescoper orbit. This is a orbit you could use bigger material blanks. And here onto the scheme, you see it very well how it would work. Our standard orbit has a 95 millimeter diameter orbit. So you could arrange or place like crowns in zirconia or resin, like unto 36, and elements in zirconia until 25. But now with this bigger orbit, you have 3 additional sizes to add and 3 additional material sizes to choose to work with. So to use those 3 different or additional sizes, we're offering adapter rings for 98 millimeter diameter and a adapter ring for 106 millimeter diameter. So, and you can see already, oh yes, you can use right now a material from a other company and mill it onto our milling machine. But pay attention, as you can see very well onto the numbers. Also, if you have a bigger, so I mean a 98 millimeter diameter material block, you get less units in it because you have the step onto the block. So in the end, you get more units into the block if you use a 95. A lot of people, they don't know that. So then we are offering a adapter ring for 106 millimeter diameter, and we are offering soon for that size a resin block and also zirconia blocks. So that could be very interesting for a lot of people. For a lot of people. And then we use the 3rd extra size as it is without an adapter. So we can put a 125 millimeter diameter material block immediately into the orbit. 125. Wow, what a monster. So here you can place until 4 bite splints and a little surgical guide into a resin block, and up to 5 a very lot zirconia units at the same time. So now we are starting with the sorry, I'm disturbing right now my colleague here. Now we're starting with the implant components itself. And as you can see, the first main topic would be now to capture the implant positions. This is a very, very important part because we have to separate that in an analog part and in a digital part. For those people, they are still doing the conventional impression procedure by using a individual impression tray with silicone. They need to have, or they must use, an impression coping, and we are offering impression copings for a open and closed tray. And for that, of course, you get also the laboratory analogues for it. But we are offering also scan analogues. What are the scanner analogues are? The scan analogues you could use instead of using the laboratory analogues by skipping to creating a normal plaster model. That means you could just screw those scan analogues immediately into the physical impression, onto the impression copings, and scan the whole impression tray. And our scan software is able to render this kind of information and create a positive implant model without doing a gyps model, plaster model. Who is creating a plaster model? A conventional plaster model needs in the end scan markers, scan flags to detect the implant position. And we are offering the standard scan marker. This is below left, this triangle one. And as you may know, the white marker, I'm sorry, for the oral procedure. So let me explain that better. So the triangle one, the standard scan marker, is just for the plaster model. And you are able to transfer the implant position in the digital world. The white scan marker is for the oral procedure by using a intraoral scanner. And then you see a third box onto the right with the name white metal scan marker. So the white metal scan marker is a new product and will replace the white scan marker. So if you're now ordering a new white scan marker, you will receive the white metal scan marker. And the white metal scan marker is quite different in this way. It's not made of PEEK material as the white marker. It's made completely in titanium. And we have a special coating onto the upper part that can be read better from the intraoral scanner. And you can use also these kind of white metal scan marker in a DVT scan, like a CBT scan, to see the fitting, the seat onto the implant interface. The digital variation is quite similar. For that, you need a scan marker for the oral procedure. That means the white scan marker or the white metal scan marker. And to create afterwards a implant model, does not matter which kind of procedure you choose. The printed procedure or the milled procedure does not matter. You can use then the same scan analog, as I explained beforehand for the physical impression, as a implant analog inside the milled or printed implant model. And the benefit of that scan analog is that we have an anti-rotation side. So you see one side is very flat, and we are able also to screw the scan analog from underneath to fix it in position. Who's choosing the milling procedure? Please pay attention that you could choose new milling burrs to mill very high models, much better the holes, like the holes for the scan analogs, with a new 2L XXL and a 1.5A XXL burr. Please pay attention about that. So, and to fix all those kind of components onto the impression copings or onto the implants and so on, we have different screwdrivers. So the universal screwdrivers in the first box, those are for Zirkonzahn screws and also several other implant systems. I cannot tell you right now which kind of implant systems I mean. Please check that out onto the homepage, onto our homepage, because there are a lot. And then we have a screwdriver, a special screwdriver for the white metal scan marker and the impression copings that you can see in the second box. And we have a screwdriver, special screwdrivers, made with the same geometry like the original screwdrivers from the original implant companies like Straumann or Biomate and so on, you could buy and use. And for all those components, you could then also choose the ratchet wrench adapter. This is the fourth box to use in combination with the third and also the second box. And if you want to torque them in a correct way onto the implant, you could use the torque ratchet wrench as well. Let's continue with the normal standard titanium bases. Here, as you know, we have since years the parallels, the titanium base for single restorations. We have them available in 5 different gingiva heights, and this is a parallel base because we have an anti-rotation part onto our geometry, so the crown, the restoration itself, will not be rotating onto the titanium base itself, and a anti-rotation obvious at the connection at the interface as well. If you don't know that, it would be very interesting to know that we have those kind of titanium bases available with a gold layer. So this is a very, very thin gold layer put onto this kind of geometry or base, just to reduce the grayish color of the titanium base. So if you have aesthetic restorations like anti-restorations, and you see shining the titanium color through the zirconia or resin, for example, you could decide to use the gold titanium base. It's an alternative to the anodized one. You could use it as you wish. So here again, the 5 different gingiva heights to compensate the thickness of the gingiva. And then we go over to the non-hex, the conical titanium base made only for multi-unit restorations. So here also the same, we have 5 different gingiva heights. We have also a gold-plated titanium base. And we have added onto this conical titanium bases like spirals, like little grooves around, to just increase the mechanical retention. And obvious, this is a titanium base without a anti-rotation device or anti-rotation connection, because you need that for multi-unit restorations if the implants are divergent, or they are not with the correct interfaces equally. So now we come to narrow titanium base, and this is quite interesting because a lot of people, they ask me, what is the difference between the standard one and narrow? But it says already, the name says already what it is, narrow. So we have a smaller titanium base. The geometry is almost equal to the original ones, but the geometry is reduced of a minimum. Why I have those kind of possibility and why I use that maybe? Because if you have an anterior situation and the implants are placed very close to each other, then you have made problems to place standard titanium bases very close to each other because they have the borders and they are crossing each other. So if you have a smaller one, you don't have this bigger border, more space in between. And also if you have not that much gingiva height, or if you have a bone level implant with less gingiva, you could also choose this kind of narrow base to get a better aesthetic. The same also for multi-unit restorations and gold-plated bases as well. Here the same, it's depending onto the implant system. You could use our universal screwdriver for Zirkonzahn screws or several implant systems. We have a screwdriver made for the original systems like Straumann and so on. And you can use the adapter wrench and ratchet to torque the screws. And I'm just giving you an information how to torque the screws, because a lot of people ask me also, yeah, with how many Newton centimeters I have to torque the screws. Well, if you buy an implant component, you receive this little box, And on the back side of the box, you will see the information with how many Newton centimeters you should torque the screw, only to give you the information. So now we come to a complete new component. Here at the European market, is it already available since few months? And I'm talking about the new K80. This K80, called also angled screw channel titanium base, short as ASC. What is so special about this new angled screw channel titanium base? As you may know, quite often it is for the surgeon very difficult to place the implants in a aesthetic position because of different problems like bone density or the bone structure itself and so on. And we all technicians know when we get a restoration where the screw channel is looking very anterior, so it's quite difficult to create a aesthetic restoration. So we need to have a possibility to angulate the screw channel, and with that with that titanium base, you are able to angulate the screw channels until 30 degrees, and that's quite impressive and quite a lot. So in this case, we are able to optimize the aesthetic and also the functions. And this titanium base does exist in one height, and this is a 8 mm height to buy, and later on digitally and also physically, like in a manual world, you're able to modify the height of the 7, 6, 5, and 4 millimeters. So here are the pictures, and we have in the future also gold-plated titanium braces available. And on one side, the titanium base is open, as you can see, and we have them for a parallel and a conical interface or option. And now I have to speak about the angulation of the screw channel itself, because for now you have to pay attention to a very, very important thing. You got the screw, the scan markers. In any kind of scan markers, they have a narrow part. And this narrow part is indicating the angulated side of the titanium base. So before you scan the scan markers, like the models or the scan markers into the patient's mouth, you have to be sure that the narrow side is located or is rotated or is viewing into this direction where the screw channel has to be angulated. Yeah, this is very, very important. We are working on it, that we can rotate the implant interface in the nearly future digitally. So you don't have to pay attention about the narrow side anymore, but we are working on it. For now, you have to pay attention where the narrow side is placed. And I have a little video for you so you can actually see now live how that works. This is now a situation where we paid attention that the scan markers are placed in the correct position. Here we choose the correct height. As you can see, I'm just going back for a second again. Here you can see if you go to the prosthetic part. As I mentioned before, when you buy this titanium base, you get it just in one height, 8 millimeters. But you can decide digitally to shorten this titanium base until 4 millimeters. So what you do is later on, because onto the titanium base, you see these little grooves, the spirals. And you have to count from the top is 8, then you count after the spirals down until 6, 4, and so on, millimeters, and then you cut with a normal cutting disc for metal to get the specific height. That is not really complicated. I think it's a very clever idea to be very, very individual. And also during the whole designing workflow, you could every time decide, okay, do I need a higher one, base or a shorter base? And afterwards, after you milled the restoration, you just shorten them manually onto the physical one. Okay, what you do is you don't pay attention about the angulated screw channel at all during the designing process. You just make your designing process, you finish it until you get into the master menu, then you merge everything together, and then you go back into the freeform and choose in our attachment module the correct attachment for the angled screw channel. And you get automatically this kind of visualization regarding the implant placement, where you can see now the angulation of the degrees from 0 to 30. And you can decide now very well, or see very well, how many degrees you should angulate the screw channel, match them in position, or match the attachment onto the visualization, and then you just perform a cutting and you get the angled screw channel, the hole regarding the angulation. It's in the end that easy. If it's too fast for you, we have the same video also online on our homepage. You can watch it again. So then we come to okay, those are the informations for the K80 again, exactly. So we have those for single crowns or for single restorations. We have them in the future also gold-plated, so to reduce the grayish part and to increase the biocompatibility. And we have them in different heights, but I'm not speaking about the gingiva height, I'm speaking about the chimney height. You can decide and cut individually. And we have those also for non-engaged interfaces, so for multi-unit restorations. And now I have to be specific about the screwdrivers. So, and also screw itself. So for the K80, we have a special screw. And this screw, the interface of the screw is like star-shaped. And we got also screwdrivers with a star or a ball head. It's called ball head. It looks like a round star. And in this case, you are able to torque the screw also with a higher angulation until 30 degrees very well. Please pay attention that if you use K80, please buy the new ball head screwdrivers. And if you need a replacement screw, pay attention that you just order the correct screw for the K80. Also here in combination with the ratchet wrench adapter and the torque wrench. And now we come to a other new product, the K85. This is similar to the K80, but here we don't get the possibility to angulate the screw channel until 80 degree. This is just a titanium base with a higher chimney, and the chimney is high until 88.5 millimeters, and you can shorten down until 4.5 millimeters. In the same way, you can choose the height in our designing software digitally. You choose the height digitally, and then you just cut the height or you trim the chimney with a metal disc onto your individual height. And of course, that will be enforced now, or will strengthen our restoration. That means if I have a very, very high restoration, I would choose a very low titanium base, then I get a higher risk that I will break the restoration. If I get a higher restoration with a higher titanium base inside, so I will reinforce the whole restoration with this metal core, with this higher base in the end. So we have this titanium base also in a conical or with conical interfaces, and in the future with a gold-plated surface. Here, for the screwdriver, it's depending which kind of system I'm using. We offering screwdrivers for their systems like Straumann. Please use them, yeah, in combination with the adapter and ratchet wrench. Again, please watch out onto our homepage or from our sales team the availability of the geometries of the screwdrivers. I have not the list, and it makes no sense to give you all the informations right now. And now we come to the raw abutments. The raw abutments, as you may know, we offering since years. Those are prefabricated cylinders made of titanium with a pre-milled interface for almost any kind of implant interfaces geometries. So what's the benefit by using that? Here you can design your individual abutment into our designing software and mill only the individual abutment part out of this raw abutment. The interface will be not touched, that is already prefabricated, and then you have a perfect fitting individual abutment instead by using a titanium base for your restorations. And the benefit by using the raw abutments also could be to anodize the abutments. So we have the anodizer. I will tell you and show you in a few slides. And only to let you know, to mill this kind of raw abutments, you need a special holder. This 95 millimeter holder for the normal orbit. You can place and fix up to 3 raw abutments at the same time. And we have new for the bigger orbits for the M2 dual and M2 for the telescopal orbits, a bigger holder. You can fix until 5, I guess, or 6 raw abutments at the same time. Only in case if you wants to mill later into a new M2. For that, we need also special screwdrivers here, specific screwdrivers for their original implants like Straumann in combination with the ratchet wrench and so on. Now comes the new holder. You see, I have space until 6 raw abutments at the same time. Good. So this is the anodizer. This is a device to anodize the titanium surface. So you could anodize in all spectral colors, as you can see below into the scheme. Here it's also to reduce the grayish color of the titanium. For example, in yellow color, gold color, to get a better aesthetic. And also the biocompatibility is better by using this kind of procedure. Okay, let's talk about Zirkonzahn multi-unit abutments. We have 2 different of them. This is the straight one, the standard one. What is the benefit by using multi-unit abutments? We have for almost any kind of implant system available this multi-unit abutments. So, for example, if I have a case, a situation, a patient case with more than one type of implants placed into the bone, and I want to create one connection, I could use the multi-unit abutments to create one interface, one connection on top. And this standardized my connection, of course, so it's more easier to screw the restorations than onto it. And I can directly screw or fix screw retain the restoration onto the multi-unit, I can use also a non-hex titanium base for restorations and screw it on to the multi-unit abutment. Here again an overview. We have the multi-unit abutments in different gingiva heights as well. And we have a without anti-rotation device because I said to use just for multi-unit restorations, not for single restorations. You can use it without titanium base. Here on the picture you see a restoration with titanium base. So, and for this multi-unit abutment, we have a kind of device or instrument. This is the first box on the left side, the screwdriver Zirkonzahn MUA. You would fix the MUA, the multi-unit abutment, in that device. And this device helps the doctor to place the multi-unit and place the multi-unit into the patient's mouth onto the implant and screw them a little bit, torque them a little bit. And then, obviously, you would use the conventional screwdriver and ratchet wrench and adapter to torque the screw, the multi-unit abutments, definitely onto the implants. The box onto the second part. Second box. This is only the abutment screw. So if you go back, this abutment screw is to screw the restoration directly onto the multi-unit interface or with the titanium base. It's a little bit smaller, so pay attention about that. And here you have to use the universal screwdriver. So I mean a screwdriver for Zirkonzahn screws. And now we come to the angled screw, the multi-unit abutment, the angled multi-unit abutment. So we have one type in 17 degrees. What is the benefit by using those? So again, if I have a implant is placed very angulated, so the screw channel, for example, is coming out in a not good position, and I need to straighten the implant position. So I could use the angled multi-unit abutment for that to straighten the position. And what is also special, I can use it for multi-unit restorations and single restorations. And here also you could fix it directly, screw retain directly onto the multi-unit interface or in combination with titanium bases. And now we are coming to them because there does exist different ones. The first one we're talking about, the left one, this kind of titanium base is only for multi-unit restoration, so non-hex situations. And the two on the right side, those are for single crowns, for single restorations. And we have two types. One type is a one-position titanium base, and the other one is a six-position titanium base. What is the difference about that? One position means I have one point as an engagement, and the sixth position, I have 6 engagements for my titanium base. And here we will offer this ungulated multi-unit abutment in the future also with a gold layer. And we have them available soon in different heights. And we are offering also different types of this hex connection, the interface connection of a ungulated multi-unit abutment itself. But it's depending on their implant interface itself. That means from which kind of implant company you would use the multi-unit abutment. It does exist connections with a hex geometry. It does exist connection with a square or with a triangle, and so on. And if you have a position of the interface, a non really good position of the interface, if you see, I should rotate the multi-unit halfway more, that is an indication that you should use a type 2, because the hex interface below is rotated or is placed in a different position. So in the end, you could, if you see on the right side, you could use with these two types, or you could place a multi-unit abutment with these two types on more positions you need, and also with other kind of interface geometries. So here it's quite important to understand. We have special instruments by fixing those multi-unit abutments. So we're starting with the box, the first box. This is the abutment screw to fix the restoration onto the multi-unit abutment directly or with a titanium base. Then we have the second box. This is the screw. I'm going back for a second. This is the screw to torque to fix the multi-unit abutment onto the implant. Just make it small for a second so you can see, maybe, I hope you can see, here below, this is the long screw to fix the titanium base, the multi-unit abutment into the implant. But herefore, you need the universal screwdriver. That means the screwdriver for Zirkonzahn screws. And then we have in the third box a special instrument. That instrument called screw in aid. This is made of PEEK or in PEEK. And that helps me to positioning the multi-unit abutment onto the implant. It's quite easy sometimes for the doctor just to hold this little component in their hand and place it onto the implant, and that helps me. I just screw it in place of the abutment screw onto it, and then I'm able to guide them very well onto the implant. So again, we need the universal screwdriver to torque everything, and of course, in combination, the ratchet wrench and the torque wrench. And then we come to a latest product, the ZZ lock. The ZZ lock allows me to create a removable restoration on implants, like a snap restoration. Yeah, you know the matrix system for overdentures and so on. This is the same procedure, and we are offering those kind of components for different situations. So we have 3 components. They will be used for a bar. So yes, you heard very well. When you create a screw retain bar, you can use our attachment module to place this ZZ lock onto the bar in position you need, and the milling machine or the designing software will not add this kind of attachment onto it. No, it will be cut out the hole for the attachment for the ZZ lock. And in that hole, this hole contains the information for the milling machine, that it will mill a thread inside a titanium or chrome cobalt bar. And we have 3 different geometries or sizes to screw then onto the bar. I will go through all those sizes. So we have one geometry. It's similar to the locator system from Medentica, from Novalock. And then we have 2 geometries. They are similar to Rhine 83 in a diameter of 1.8 and a diameter of 2.5 millimeters. Attention: to mill the threads inside the primary bar structure, you need special burrs. A burr for titanium it called 2.0, and a burr for chrome cobalt, the same, to mill those threads. Then we offering a option to use directly those kind of snapping functions, locator functions, onto implants without a primary structure. So here you could use in combination our multi-unit abutments to screw those locator Novalock system onto it. Now we come to a very, very important question. Yeah, what's about the matrix system, like the retention inserts? So for now, you have to buy those matrix systems, inserts, or retention inserts from the original company. That means for this kind of system from Novalock, Medentika, also the first ZZ lock, whereas written locator Novalock, the same matrix from Medentika Novalock, and the other components depending onto the size from the company Rhine 83. In the future, we are offering our own retention inserts, but that will come soon. How I can fix those kind of ZZ locks onto the multi-unit abutments or bar with our screwdrivers. Pay attention, you need the universal screwdriver. That means for Zirkonzahn screws to fix the ZZ lock Nova lock. That means this one and the first locator Nova lock above and the Rhine 83 2.5. The Rhine 83 1.8, we are not offering right now the compatible screwdriver for it. So please use the original from Rhine 83. But then, if you use universal for the others, you please use the ratchet wrench adapter and the torque wrench to torque them onto the structures. Now we come to the last topics, the healing caps. We are offering healing caps after the surgery. So please place first the multi-unit abutments onto the implants, and then you can choose 3 different colored healing caps. One is in silver, so you could, as a customer, you could anodize themselves, or you use them as they are in silver, or in silver color. And then we already pre-anodized them in pink, or pre-anodize them in a yellow color, in gold color. You can use the universal screwdriver to torque them. Then we come to our abutment screws. Again, an overview, what kind of screws we are offering to you. We talked about a lot of screws, but we are offering also special screws. So we have the standard screws, the abutment screws for metal and zirconia. Please separate them. I will explain you why in the next slide. We are offering also regarding to or related to the gold-plated titanium bases, also gold-plated metal screws. That helps me not because of the aesthetic. It helps me if I have a cold fusion of the metal, like if you're torquing the screws into the titanium bases, and after a while the metals are fusing together, cold fusing together, so you're not able to untorque them anymore. The gold-plated screws helps me to prevent this cold fusion, so you can untorque the screw very easy. And also the same with the anodized blue and anodized black screw. But here we separated them in laboratory screw and the screw for the dentist. And yes, you have to use a separate screw for your laboratory work. We recommend as Zirkonzahn company, use never the same screw you get with the titanium base or with the implant component for laboratory work and to insert to screw into the patient's mouth. Please have 2 separated screws. That's why we're offering also a separate laboratory work. Keep the screw you can find in the little box where the implant component is for the patient. If you want to offer something more higher quality, then you can offer the black screws for the dentist. Okay, abutment screw metal, especially only for metal components like titanium bases or directly screwed restorations made in metal. You see the shape is like conical. And we have another shape of the screw head for zirconia, because it's the seat of the screw. The seat for the zirconia screw is flat, so we can equally torquing down the restoration onto the implant by using the flat seat. Instead, if we would use the conical one, we would break the zirconia restoration obvious. And here again, an overview about that. So left one for zirconia and right one, the screw is chosen wrong for zirconia restorations. Yeah, so never use a conical for directly screwed zirconia restoration. But I think everybody knows that it would be better to use titanium bases for zirconia restorations to prevent those kind of fractures. Okay, then we come to screw blanks. What is screw blanks? We have them already since several years, but I think it's kind nice to add it in this kind of presentation. This is a special technology to close the screw channel as an alternative to composite. Yeah, a lot of dentists, they use composite to fill up the screw channel. Well, there does exist some disadvantages by using composite. The color will not match very well to the restoration, or it will change the color after a while because plaque will attach on it, or it will fall out, and so on. Why not better to use a cleverer or a much clever solution? And this solution is this kind of screw. It's a plug to close the screw channel. What we did is, or what you can choose in our system, you can choose a thread to mill inside the zirconia structure, inside the screw channel. So your final milled restoration will have inside a thread. And you're able to mill those plugs, screws, in resin in-house with your Zirkonzahn milling machine. You can mill them in 3 different diameters depending onto the implant size, implant diameter. And we have available right now 3 different colors to cover almost any kind of color indications. And then the doctor just screw them into the screw channel by hand. He does not have to use any kind of special instrument. He don't need to use any more like Teflon and so on to protect the implant screw. Just screw it in. Cut the rest is too much away. Polishes the surface, and that's it. It's a very, very nice solution. Please pay attention. You need a special burrs to mill the inner thread in zirconia and the thread of the plugs in resin. This is called 1.8 G burr for resin and zirconia. So obvious, a lot of dentists, they're watching right now and asking themselves, yeah, how I can remove the screw. I have a solution, of course, but that I integrated now in the last topic, the tools. Now a general topic or a general overview. So we are offering, and this is quite new, and I hope in the next few weeks we are able to send one of those universal screwdriver set to you. So this is the first box you can see. It's a very, very nice box with all necessary instruments, screwdrivers, handle, torque wrench, adapter, ratchet wrench, and so on in one set. And this set is made of metal, so you can autoclave it. So this is very, very nice for the dentist practice. And you can choose any kind of original shaped screwdrivers, universal screwdrivers, and so on. Ratchet wrench, handpiece for the screwdrivers, so those are the little ones. The little ones I can show you right in the next slide. Then we're offering also screwdrivers already attached the little adapter onto it. So this is one piece, not two pieces. And then we have the screwdriver for Zirkonzahn, as I explained to you. And those are the different screwdriver sets for the set from before, in different length as well. So for any kind of situation, for the oral situation, I mean, if you have implant screw restoration right in the back, in the posterior, like the molar, you have not that space because of the antagonist to choose a conventional long screwdriver. You just use then a very short one. You just put it into the screw channel, put then the adapter torque wrench, the adapter onto it, and then you can torque with the wrench very well. Or you need a longer screwdriver because the restoration is very high. It's up to you. So we are offering a lot of instruments by torquing the restorations. And here again, very, very important, use the ball head screwdriver for the K80 bases, yeah, with the angulated screw channels. And now we come to a part, and then we are almost done. Titanium base extractors. The extractors are a special part for it because I mentioned before the cold fusion, metal against metal. The thing is, when the doctor wants to unscrew restoration from the implant, but the screw will go out, but the titanium base is cold fused together with the implant. That's the problem. If you use a base extractor, then this problem can be solved. That means this extractor is able to extract the titanium base or to loosen the titanium base from the implant. You see, not any of the titanium bases, only a few of them. You see them on our homepage, which I'm talking about. They have inside a little thread. So the titanium base, they have inside a little thread. And you see the extractor has as onto the pin also a thread. So if you have a cold fused titanium base, you just go in with the extractor, you torque, you screw, until the little pin of the extractor touches the bottom side of the implant interface. And then you're just torquing again, and the pin and the thread will go out, press out the titanium base, and will lose the titanium base from the implant. Here you can see all the available extractors for this kind of procedure with the little inner thread. Please watch out again onto the homepage. And those are universal extractors for titanium bases without this little thread. Yeah, you have a two-component extractor. It works almost a similar way, but it's very useful, or you can use it for almost any kind of titanium bases then. And now we come to the sealing screw extractor. I was talking about the resin plugs beforehand. How the dentist can remove them right now is very easy. You just need this sealing screw extractor. This is made for his handpiece, for Dr. handpiece, and the head of this extractor is very sharp and very pointy. And you just hold it, this extractor, onto the plug, and with the right rotation, you just go inside very easy, the screw. And with the left rotation, you get out the plug very easy. So we are a little bit over time because we were waiting at the beginning. Stand out in the crowd with the quality, and I think Zirkonzahn is offering yeah, good quality, because we are also a generic producer of a lot of implant components, and we are offering also special components for you guys. And I think you get a much clearer mind right now, and you're capable now to understand what is possible, which kind of component I can use for which kind of system, for which kind of situation. I say thank you to you.